Hello, Brian Weeks here again with another MMCD contract consideration. This video clip will cover the topic of what's a referee? This is a companion video to another contract consideration called MMCD Dispute Resolution. That video covers the entire dispute resolution process, whereas this video focuses exclusively on the referee step. In this video, I'm going to explain the role of the referee, the benefits a good referee can bring, how you engage a referee, the qualifications you should expect in a referee, the specific tasks and timeline that a referee commits to, and the costs of using a referee. You can find all of the exact contract language I'll be discussing by referring to our General Condition 17.5. Let's start by reviewing how the referee fits into the process. Once a dispute has been formalized and an initial negotiations between the two parties have failed, they get to the referee stage in our process. The first thing to remember is that the referee step is mandatory. Paraphrasing GC 17.5.1, the referee's review may be omitted only with the written approval of both parties. This clause imposes contractual obligations on both parties. Failure by one party to comply is a breach of contract. So what in fact does a referee do? Under our General Condition 17.5, the referee is engaged to provide an impartial and hopefully expert opinion on how a judge or an arbitrator would rule should the dispute get that far. Note that I said opinion, because the referee's report is not binding on either side. The purpose of the referee's involvement is to assist the two parties to come to a consensual resolution, not to impose a decision. But when we drafted this language, we envisioned several benefits from employing a referee. Number one, it could take 10 to 20 days to find and engage a referee. The referee has 10 days to form and distribute his or her opinion. And then the parties have another 10 days to decide if they will accept the referee's opinion as a basis for settlement. Thus, it could easily take 2 months before the parties have to make a decision. Just having this much cooling off time may allow the parties to step back and look at the implications of not settling once they have this opinion. Emotions will likely have cooled off, and practical business considerations may enable a settlement that would not have been acceptable 2 months earlier. Benefit 2. The referee is mandated to undertake his or her own investigation. With a referee having an impartial position, participants may be more forthcoming. GC 17.5.6 requires both parties to comply with the referee's reasonable request for all relevant documents. This will assist the referee to create a fully informed opinion. Benefit 3. It also requires the referee to exchange all documents between the two parties so that each knows the information the other is relying upon for their position. This will prevent one party from being surprised by information held by the other. Both should be able to judge the strength of the other's arguments and position. Benefit 4. But the most important outcome of the referee's involvement is the final opinion that he or she will write. Both parties should recognize the value of this independent opinion and be willing to come to a settlement before spending any more money or time on the dispute. The preferred method of finding a referee is for the two parties to exchange lists of names until they agree on a person. This appears to be the method through which most referees have been selected in the past. If, after a minimum of 3 days, the parties have not agreed on a referee, either one can send a request to the MMCD Association for the appointment of a referee. This does not require the consent of the other party, even though both parties will share equally the cost of the referee. The request for a referee should include a copy of the dispute notice and any other particulars which will enable the association to determine what qualifications the referee needs. For example, is the dispute about sewer piping, or signal light controllers, or landscaping? all require different expertise. If the MMCD Association has been requested to appoint a referee, the association will canvass its small pool of certified referees to see if anyone with the appropriate background has the time to take on the referee role. If one is available, that person will be appointed by the association and the two parties will be so notified. If, however, no certified referee is available at the time and no time extension is granted which would enable an appointment, then the association will notify both parties that a referee cannot be appointed, and pursuant to GC 17.5.2b, the two parties are deemed to have waived the referee step. This is the only other way to bypass this step. So what qualifications should a referee have? GC 17.5.2 makes it clear that the two parties have no restrictions on who they can hire as a referee. However, for a referee to be accepted by both, it is clear that both parties must see that person as impartial and knowledgeable. Familiarity with the MMCD dispute process and referee duties would be a bonus. Often, a referee will be someone who is retired but was widely respected in the local construction community. Sometimes, due to the risk of potential conflicts of interest, a referee who is still working can be found in another community. MMCD certified referees are screened for experience, have demonstrated an ability to be impartial, and are trained in the MMCD requirements. However, there is no guarantee a certified referee will be available when needed. Thus, parties to a dispute should be sure they've exhausted all options to find a mutually agreeable person before contacting the MMCD Association for an appointed referee. No matter whether the referee was selected by agreement or appointed by the MMCD Association, the two parties are required to use Schedule 17.5.3 to engage the referee. This schedule was included in the Gold Edition, but was omitted from the Platinum Edition. Platinum users can download it from our website by looking under Platinum Document Supplementals for the one issued March 25th, 2010. Although this document is useful to formally appoint a referee with the acknowledged support of both parties, the most important reasons for requiring this form to be used are the limitations and protections it provides for the referee. By restating the commitment to GC 17.5.13, the parties agree they will not unilaterally use a referee in a subsequent dispute resolution step. In other words, the referee cannot subsequently work for only one party. It also ensures that neither party can call upon the referee to give evidence or directly use the referee's opinion as evidence in court or arbitration. This does not mean the parties cannot use the referee's opinion in preparing their arguments, just that they cannot bring it into evidence. Similarly, the parties agree to release and save harmless the referee from any liability which might be alleged to have arisen from his or her role as a referee. It is critical the referee have these protections. Without them, no one would take on the role of referee. This is why it is mandatory that the two parties and the appointed referee sign the designated schedule. GC 17.5.6 gives the referee full discretion on how to proceed and sets out the types of things which might be done. These include reviewing all documents, interviewing all relevant persons, and viewing the site. GC 17.5.8 requires the referee to produce his or her non-binding decision within 10 days of being appointed. This opinion is required to include any recommended adjustment to the contract time and/or price which is felt to be appropriate. The intent is that this opinion is a foreshadowing of what a judge or an arbitrator would rule if the dispute must be finally resolved by one of them. I should say a word about timelines. As written, the MMCD set hard deadlines for each step and sub-step of the dispute resolution process. This was to ensure that no one party could misuse the process by holding it up for strategic advantage. And this includes the referee. Of course, like all parts of the contract, the deadlines can be extended by mutual agreement. For example, should the referee request additional time to complete the opinion, the two parties can agree to the extension. However, if even one party does not agree, then the 10-day deadline is firm, and the referee must comply and produce the best opinion possible in the time available. Another way for deadlines to be extended is when both parties fail to object when a deadline is missed. Until one party chooses to enforce the deadline, the time is extended by default agreement. However, as soon as one party objects to a missed deadline, the clock starts ticking on the next step, because GC 17.8.1 requires time limits be strictly enforced. After doing the investigation, exchanging the documents, and writing his or her opinion, the referee has one more task. 10 days following the delivery of the opinion, the referee is required to contact each party to inquire if the dispute can be settled on the basis of the opinion. The referee must then advise each party of his understanding of the position of the other. This is to avoid a situation where one party thinks the dispute has been settled on the basis of the referee's opinion, but the other party does not accept it. So what will a referee cost? If the two parties agree on a referee, they will negotiate that person's rate. Once accepted, that rate will be written into the engagement form. To avoid any issues which might arise from having different rates, the MMCD Association has set a standard rate to be paid to any referees we appoint. In 2014, this rate was $1,500 per day. You can quickly calculate that once travel and other expenses are included, 10 days of referee time will cost $15,000 to $20,000. Even though this cost will be split equally between the parties, it is clear that the referee step is likely to be avoided except for disputes of very significant value. The referee invoices the owner for all fees and approved expenses. The owner will then pay that invoice and deduct 50% of the amount from any monies owing the contractor. This is one of the reasons we expect disputes to be resolved during the contract and not left until after substantial performance. So to summarize, number one, the MMCD believes engaging a referee has so many benefits, we made it a mandatory step unless both sides agree in writing to bypass it. Number two, referees can be selected by agreement between the two disputing parties or by appointment by the MMCD Association. However, there may not be one available at the time of a dispute, thus bypassing this step. Number three, any referee must be engaged using Schedule 17.5.3 to ensure protection for the referee. Number four, the referee has wide discretion to investigate and review before writing a decision. Both parties must comply with reasonable requests for all related documents. Number five, unless extended by agreement, the referee must deliver a written decision within 10 days of being engaged. This decision is expected to indicate what the referee thinks a judge or an arbitrator would decide if the dispute goes to that stage. The decision must also include any recommended adjustments to contract price and/or time. Number six, 10 days after issuing the decision, the referee checks with both parties to see if they will settle on the basis of the referee's opinion. He or she then advises both parties of the other's position regarding the decision. Number seven, while the referee bills the owner, the contractor pays 50% through a deduction from any monies otherwise owing. I hope that has helped clarify this contract consideration. Please check our website for further assistance and to see what other topics are presented in this series. Thanks for watching.